I'm going to go ahead and get started. I think we have a presentation the guys are working on up in the booth while they're getting that ready. This is the workshop for the 2024 youth gathering. It is also an opportunity to hear from Deacon Julie about Synod Youth and Family Ministry, as well as LYO. And then Christian Marbach is also going to talk a little bit about a Metro DC youth. He's going to tell you that. So we're going to talk about all that. Sorry, my brain did just glitch there. We're going to talk about all that, and then we're going to open it up for questions. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. We're glad you're here. Okay, so I covered all that, right? Okay. So I'm also going to be reaching out to congregations in June by email, by phone, to connect with you guys to answer additional questions and get you guys started if you're feeling anxious, worried, stressed out about planning for the youth gathering. If you've never been, or you're just feeling rusty like I am myself, because we did not go to Minneapolis. So we're all a little bit playing catch up. You can move to the next slide. We have several familiar options plus the young adult gathering this year. So I want to just provide a highlight about these to get you guys started and then answer some questions about when might we know answers about the other things, because we don't have all the answers to everything today. These events take place July 13th to 16th in 2024. They are considered pre-events. Many of you all may already be familiar with them. The table is for students who have physical, cognitive, and emotional disabilities. They're encouraged to attend the table. They must be 14 to 18 years old or enrolled in high school youth group or high school or vocational equivalent. So there's a broad consideration about who's eligible to attend the table, and they must be attended by an adult companion. One adult companion gets their registration fee waived for the gathering, which follows the table. In addition to that, the first 200 students to register for the table will get their $190 table registration fee waived. So 200 of those students will not have to pay. The mile is happening during that same time, and it's for youth of color whose primary language is other than English. They must be in 8th through 12th grades in the fall of 2024, and my pages are sticking. If at least, this is where a lot of questions can come up, if at least half of your student population are youth of color or whose primary language is other than English, your congregation is welcome to attend as a group. Otherwise, students are encouraged to attend with an adult leader and then join the congregation group at the gathering. And as you heard from Bishop Layla earlier, the first 1,000 to register, the first 1,000 students to register have that 190-mile registration fee waived. And that fee includes housing and meals, but you still have to pay for gathering. Then you have the created to be. That is our theme. It is from Psalm 139, especially verse 14. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works that I know very well. You can go to the next slide. Sorry. Too many things to keep track of here. This is happening after the pre-event. So July 16th through 20th in New Orleans. And you can go to the next slide. The young adult gathering is new this year, and I imagine you all might have some questions about that. This was created for a couple of reasons, a primary one being that the students who were eligible to go to Minneapolis lost that opportunity, especially a certain age bracket of that group. So this is designed to capture them and give them an opportunity to participate, but we also have some really great things going on churchwide for young adults. So this is operating out of the ELCA Young Adults Office. It's open to young adults ages 18 to 35. Participants register on their own, not with your congregation group, and they have to submit to background checks. And this is because those students and young adults will be participating in the mass gatherings in the evening in the interactive center. So there's going to be some overlap where they'll be participating in our gathering events. And just like every adult has to be background checked, so do these young adults. They will be housed in their own hotel. So they get to do their own young adult stuff separately from where our high schoolers are. Their schedule includes cohorts based by age, and they will have workshops, intensives, like I said, the interactive center, and they will attend the mass gatherings each evening. Childcare will be provided for them, but it will not, and the opportunity to sign your kids or your child or children up for childcare will be available much later, but that will go out to families who need that during the gathering. But no childcare will be available during the mass gathering. So students, families with children will have the opportunity to watch it at their hotel live streamed, because that's an option for everybody. And financial assistance for that is limited, and contacting the ELCA Young Adult Office is required for that. Okay, so the last thing I want to cover is, thank you for changing the slide, is, no, that was good. You can go to the next one, is how to find all the information. They have updated their website this year. So if you look at the top right, you have 4 bits of information. What's the gathering, attend, facts, and resources. Everything you need to know and every way for you to sign up for information for the gathering is on this website. It also gives you links to the mile, the table, and the young adult gathering. So on the other sheet of paper that you all were handed, I know I'm a paper fiend, I apologize. There's a one-sided or two-sided sheet of paper, 2024 ELCA Youth Gathering at a Glance. It gives you the links. It talks about the pre-events, gives you my information, which I forgot to introduce myself, so I'll do that when I'm done. And gives you just a quick look at all that. Let me see about this. On this main page, when you scroll down to the bottom, there's an opportunity to subscribe to something called G News. This is super critical for you to sign up for. This is for you as a primary leader. This is for you as a parent, a council member, a pastor, a deacon. Anyone who wants to know what's going on with youth gathering, G News is for you. So they have a link there. You click on that, you fill out a sheet of, an online form, and then you will start receiving G News. There will also be something called G Learn, which many of you may have already seen. And it is, for those of you who have attended before, we used to have a handbook that we could get all this information from. Instead of a handbook, they're doing it through pre-recorded videos and typed information in a online format called G Learn. So right now they have a handbook series available, and as we continue to get closer to the dates, more relevant information will be released. Right now, it has information about the gathering, so much more in-depth than what I'm talking about here. It has information about finances, budgeting, finding adult leaders, and some of that initial timeline stuff that everyone gets pretty stressed out about for fundraisers and pre-event activities. So as you can see from there, that's what is available from that list. And then on the next slide, I am showing you what's under the attend list. So you can see what the volunteers are, the partners, bishops, special guests, more facts, opportunities to find information about things that are happening in New Orleans and what to know, the schedule, the key dates, and again, information there about the mile, the table, and the young adult gathering. There's a lot of information out there, and it's not all the information for the gathering. We always have big questions around security, transportation, and what our service projects will look like. This year, we're calling them accompaniment days, just a change to the name. Unlike at least Houston, or maybe it was Minneapolis, you in registration order this year, you will be prioritized for hotels and your service projects. That was not the case in Houston because we were assigned by Synod to a hotel and it was just run differently. So this year, the sooner you are able to register, the better your chances are to be in a hotel at your price range and a service project in your top 1 or 2 selections. That is how most of the gatherings have been, but it was not true for for Houston. The next page is the GLearn. So as I said, on the main page, you'll go down, you'll see the GLearn. All you'll do is click that GLearn, elcagathering.org, and you'll have access there. Again, right now, it's just what they're calling the gathering handbook handout format. So it's pretty basic information just to get your feet wet on costs, timelines, and other important things to know as you begin talking about it with your congregation. And then the next slide is the G News. Again, please sign up for this. The gathering does a great job at sharing information, and also on the website is links to all of their social media. So following, especially on Facebook, is a great way to get snippets of what they're doing in New Orleans, their speakers, their projects. It's a great way to get some additional information outside of GLearn or G News. I'm going to stop there. I know you guys may have questions. Please write down your questions. I will take questions at the end. I'm going to let Deacon Julie take over for her portion of this.
Thank you, Elizabeth, for all the great work that's happening around the gathering. I know that lots of folks are really excited, given the wait that we've had to have a gathering again. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing lots of you and your young people in New Orleans. I am Deacon Julie Stecker. I've had lots of Zoom meetings with many of you, but I'm glad to finally get to meet lots of you in person today. I'm the assistant to the bishop for youth and family ministry here and in the Delaware, Maryland Synod. We're doing a new-ish thing where we're sharing youth and family ministry and getting to explore all the really wonderful pieces of both of our synods joining together for that. Just for a little bit of context, I've been out of this role for just a bit of time because of some family matters. And so I'm just coming back into it now. So I don't always have all the answers for all the things you might want to know, but I am excited to get back into this work and to learn about all the wonderful things that have happened in my absence by lots of really excellent leaders. And so I'm excited to get to know you all. One thing I want to make sure that you have on your calendars, this is just hot off the presses, are the dates for our events that are coming up this next year. We're going to be having a middle school event in November 17th through 19th, and a high school event February 9th and 11th. And we are going to a brand new place called Potomac Park Retreat and Conference Center. It's in Falling Waters, West Virginia, which seems wild for two synods that do not have any congregations in West Virginia to have an event there. But it's super conveniently located to both synods. It's about an hour and a half from most of our congregations. And it's a really, really amazing place. They have dorm style lodging, which is a really nice space between camping and hotels. It bridges a nice gap there. They have really lovely facilities. They have a full-size gym. They have a really excellent large group meeting space. And they have, as you can see in the pictures, a gaga pit, a 18-hole mini golf course, and something called the Slippery Slopes, which is a giant slide built into a hill. So lots of opportunities for young people to have fun together and also gather together as we explore different aspects of faith in our lives together. This coming year, they will be called the very exciting names you see on the screen, the middle school event and the high school event. Because we're going to be engaging in some visioning over this next year about what youth and family ministry looks like, connecting with people of the whole age bracket, both from all the way to our 3rd through 5th graders, through adults who work with young people, to figure out what this kind of work looks like, what kinds of events and things we might offer for our young people, what kind of opportunities for leadership and fellowship, and all those wonderful things we can do together. So I am really looking forward to you all being a part of those conversations. One of the first conversations that's going to kick off this year is happening on Wednesday, June 14th at 7 p.m. It's going to be at St. Stephen in Silver Spring. And that is for any adults who work with young people in a congregation in the Metro DC Synod to gather together and just get a chance to talk about your ideas, what your hopes and dreams are for ministry among young people in our synods as we work together, and for us to get a chance to know each other a little bit better. So there's information about that on the Metro DC website, and the link to that is also on our youth and family ministry website, which is youngfaithmatters.com. But you can access that from the Metro DC website. So I'm really looking forward to that conversation. I think that that's going to be a really fertile time for us to discuss what our next steps together look like. One of the other things that we offer is a youth leadership development program called the Lutheran Youth Organization, or the LYO. The applications for that process are now open. If you have a young person who will be in 8th through 12th grade in this coming year, who really has some gifts for leadership, I would encourage you to look at the program and see if this might be a good fit for them, and encourage them to apply. The applications are due June 18th, and those again can be found on the website. It's a really fun program. It also has a high expectation of participation. For some kids, they've described this as their varsity sport in the past. And so it's a great opportunity for those who have the space in their schedule and lives for that they want to explore leadership development. And one of the biggest things that they do is work to put on these events for their peers. A great way for them to be practicing their leadership right now, acknowledging that they're leaders in the church right now, not getting ready to be leaders in the church at a later date. So I'd be happy to chat with you about LYO if you have any questions about that. One of the things that I'm also excited about doing this year is combining, we have the LYO gathers every now and again for what we call all team meetings. That's where all the LYOers get together and we do learning and planning and fellowship. And I am hoping that this year we will start on those days also having events for youth workers and for folks who are nurturing faith at home. In whatever way that looks like for you, whether you're a parent or a caregiver or a community member who helps young people figure out what it means to be a Christian outside of the church, so that we have these like day-long large gatherings of all kinds of people who are invested in the lives of young people, with some professional development for youth workers, with bringing in some speakers and some other folks who have lots of great ideas about how we can encourage and nurture the faith lives of young people. So keep an eye out for more information about that. We're still nailing down the details for that, but I look forward to seeing you all there. There was one more thing in my mind, but it flew away. So maybe it'll come up in questions or we'll chat about it later. Thanks so much.
And then I lost Christian. Is he still in here? Oh, you were right in front of me. This is Christian Marbach, and he's going to talk a little bit about at least one opportunity happening in the Metro DC Synod.
Hello, I lied. Oh, wow, that is. I'll talk a little bit closer, but not so loud. So I lied to you earlier when I said you'd only have to listen to Elizabeth. I did come back. I apologize. So I have to do this. I'm sorry. Okay. Ooh, that is so much better. We have had a group of networking that has been happening over the last year. And part of that, we wanted to invite into the conversation coming in the fall is a calendaring session. We all are in our own context, trying to calendar and make things happen as far as it comes to our own congregational ministries. And so we are wanting to kind of put a master calendar together so that we are not competing against each other. We're able to collaborate, resource better together. And so we are looking to have a day retreat in the fall, either August 26th or September 2nd. We are trying to lock that in with Caroline Furness to be able to host us for the day. That'll be an opportunity for us to basically come together and have if you are already planned and have all those things looking forward to share and collaborate with. If this is a time where you are in your planning session, this gives you that opportunity as well. We're also looking to do a few things to be able to network a little bit, have some fun together, just some team building, those kinds of things, and some community building. So we're looking at just a one-day get together. We'll have that information go out as well. We'll make sure that Deacon Julie has that to be able to advertise on the website so that anyone from our Synod is able to attend. It's for anyone that is a youth worker, is jumping into youth ministry, family ministry, children's ministry. We want to get all those things calendared so that we're not all having to work and reinvent the wheel all the time. And we're able to take ideas and brainstorm together. That's all that I had. I just said the one thing. Yeah. So.
Okay. All righty. So the floor is open for questions about the gathering, LYO, Metro DC Synod, questions for Deacon Julie, questions for Christian. Christian, you want to use the microphone?
Hello. So I did have a question about MILE.
Yes.
So the multicultural initiative. So in the definition, as far as getting your church group to go, you need to have half of your group
At least
be
half.
eligible to be able to go. So in my context, I don't have that.
Correct.
We don't have enough youth to where they would necessarily be able to like fully enjoy the entirety of the week
Sure.
by just going ahead and then us having a separate piece. So is there a plan of action to potentially combine congregations that have smaller groups of youth that would be eligible for that?
That is a great question. I am sure we can coordinate within our Synod to find congregations who do that so people could go together. That's a very normal experience to combine when needed like that. So we can definitely talk about that.
Perfect. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So let me know if that fits you. If you don't have half of a congregation that fits that, but you have students who do and would benefit from going with another congregation, talk to myself, talk to Christian, and we can start making some of those connections happen. Microphone 3.
Microphone 3. Hi, friends. My name's Anita. I'm on the Disability Ministry Advisory Team for the ELCA. I would like to put in an extra plug for the table. The table, I don't know what the requirements are this year, if it is one youth and one adult.
Yes.
Okay, one youth and one adult. Is the adult fee waived this time too? Sorry, I'm asking questions. I should know
you're
these
fine.
things.
No, it's good to ask. The way that I read it was that it's one adult gets their fee waived.
Okay,
So if your congregation has multiple students, only one of the adults would get that fee.
got it.
I can go back and ask.
Yeah. But I also say this in a couple things. I was on the planning team for 15, so for Detroit. Some of our friends with disabilities, the main gathering is too much, just the different sensory stuff. So if there are youth in your congregations where that is too much, in 2015, we had a decent amount of youth where their gathering experience was the table, which is totally cool. At least it was in years past. So just please give youth options is what I'm saying, that if they can't go for the whole time, maybe they can just go for table. It's a really good event. It's awesome.
I affirm that suggestion. It's a very good one. Opportunities for kids to participate this is a meaningful thing. And so whatever opportunity is the best for your students, do that. Any other questions? Yes.
Hi, my name is Kevin Vandiver. I just need a little clarification on the half for the mile group.
Yes.
Is it half of the congregational demographic? Is it half of the youth group? Or is it, if I have students who fit that demographic, I can send them individually with a leader
Sure.
versus half of the group and all of them can go to that?
So it's specifically to make sure that multicultural students get this opportunity. So in a congregation that may be primarily white, it's not an event for them, right? This is really a multicultural experience pre-event for the youth gathering. So it more answers the questions who are majority white students in that body. How do we get our students whose language isn't primary English or persons of color just for those folks. That said, there is some variable in how you want to define that. I define it by youth group, not the congregation. If your youth group is more than half persons of color, people whose primary language is other than English, that's how I define it. Because I would assume then the other folks that don't fit that would attend, they would be specifically just for the gathering, their eligibility for that. So we're talking about who, out of those eligible for Mile, how do we make sure they're attending and getting that opportunity? Does that help? Okay, okay, you're welcome. Yes.
Dan Roschke at Bethlehem in Fairfax. I just wondered, is there any talk about kind of a caravan down to the gathering, renting something together, or going, in separate cars, but maybe going together, staying at churches? Because we're kind of thinking about driving. So I was just kind of curious.
I have not heard
That-
about a caravan. Does anyone at this point know how they feel about that? I know Christian. Does anyone in addition to Christian?
Okay, so just holler.
So
Yeah,
Christian, would you mind coming up to that microphone and just adding to the conversation real quick? And we can do like maybe a three-way dialogue so everyone here knows what the possibilities are.
Sure, absolutely.
Another. short
So
microphone.
Emmanuel is preparing to like charter a bus. Our initial opportunity was going to invite other congregations to join our bus. We have had a wonderful number of youth sign up for our mission trip this year, that if they again sign up next year, we will fill a bus. So we won't necessarily have space in that first bus, but we are looking to also the logistics of adding another bus to a plan of a route going there and back is just an extra little thought. It's not another, couple of steps. So I am willing to help make that happen for the Synod. So if we have like smaller congregations, it makes it feasible for us to have a charter bus where we're all sharing and throwing in that way. Easily done. We can definitely make that happen. If we want to do vehicles on top of that and just have like a convoy. I know the only big logistical issue, and I don't know how they are approaching it for this gathering, is the use of the charter buses when we are in New Orleans. I know in Detroit, if you brought a bus, you basically had to say, yes, the gathering can use it, or no, the gathering can't use it. And if you chose that option, you were in a better place, unfortunately, because the mess that the buses had in Detroit was ridiculous. Houston was Houston as well. New Orleans will be a little different. It's a little bit easier to travel around without needing a bus. And so I think going charter bus makes sense just for the longevity of it. There are plenty of good spots. I know we have been throwing them up in the air of whether we wanted to do a Southern tour or like a middle US tour on the way there. And then on the way back is just kind of a, let's get back and, pay the extra drivers to switch out kind of thing.
That's
So,
perfect.
Willing to do. We can collect names of congregations that want to do that. Again, not too much extra steps on that piece.
And one of the ways we've done this in the past is an informal, like online form to say, yes, I'd be interested in caravanning. Yes, I'd be interested in that. And then we'd have folks in the Synod who are doing that. So we'd just make you guys the main contact for helping think that through. You have all my hours of support too. So that, yes. Absolutely. Yep. Very good point.
So I will say, just as a note for everyone, so the youth that we do have that are interested in going to Mile, we're actually flying out, but keeping their seats available on the bus ride back, so that they're not having to leave so much earlier to get to Mile, because it is going to be a couple of days travel to get there. And so to have them be out and about for what will end up being 10 to 11 days is quite a commitment. So we will probably fly them out for that piece on our end for Emmanuel. So that is something to think about as well.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And feel free to talk to me about that, because that's one way that I can know how to connect the congregations to each other who are looking for those opportunities. And then in addition to that, I didn't remember to say this in my portion of the conversation, but I will be working with Deacon Julie and Pastor Charlie of the Delaware, Maryland Synod to do a combined, at least one, but probably two combined Synod conversations about the gathering. And then we will have in-person and online options for Metro DC to have conversations, which is a great opportunity at that point to work out some of these connections, networking, transportation opportunities as well. They're not on the calendar yet, and I don't have dates in mind, but that's happening soon. And sometime in the next month, 6 weeks, we should have those dates published in Metro DC News. Thanks, Dan, for asking. Any additional questions? Oh, yep.
Hi, I'm Betty from St. Stephen
Hi,
in Silver
Betty.
Spring. I just wanted to ask, the hardest thing about this is that you have to register so early
Yes.
and with children and parents and everything. So is there any way that there can be a clearinghouse so that if we register students and then something comes up, that there might be another student that could take their place within the synods? That
Yes.
Okay.
I don't mind the messiness there. It can be a little bit messy, but we can make that work. Yeah. Any other questions about the gathering, Synod youth opportunities? Okay, well, we're going to be here for a few more minutes, so you can come and ask us questions personally, but you are free to go and enjoy a few extra minutes, maybe find some caffeine at the gas station across the road. I don't know, just a thought. But thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.